All right, we are live, and it seems like it's been a long time for Chalk Talk because it has been. We're on the air with the often imitated, never duplicated, my co-host of Chalk Talk for season 4, the felonious monk. How in the hell are you?
Getting by. Happy to be here and talk about some SML shit, man, for once.
Yeah, we are rolling, man. It seems like the seasons are going by very fast. We're already in week 5 in season 2019. It's been a good pace. It's only February, and season 5 is the last one coming up. So we are going to talk about a little bit of where we're at the quarterway mark of the season, as well as review some of the Madden 17 title update for, I think it's patch number 10, which is pretty good. I mean, we EA, there's a lot of commentary about the EA franchise and what they've done, and they've they announced something called continuous development, where they wanted to make changes throughout the season and throughout the year. And now that football season's over, some might think that they might go away, but they did announce that they will have these updates. I think it also is in concert with the Madden tournaments that they have, and they will definitely want to make sure the game is fresh. And I was encouraged to hear that they are going to continue to make updates as we travel in our CFMs and going forward. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's great. It's one of those situations where I remember back when we first started, like you would get one big patch maybe a month or two after the game dropped, like right in the middle of season 1 or season 2 usually for us. And then we didn't see another update for the rest of the game. So you were stuck with that game for the entire time. And last year, I think it was maybe what, 2 or 3 major patches. Maybe it was two.
Hmm.
I think maybe it was two. But either way, it's causing people to have to adjust. They're fixing things that need to be fixed. Um, so it's
Yeah.
good. I mean, even like I said, I'm one of the first people to, if I find me a good exploit, I'm gonna use it. So I can recognize when one, I recognize when it needs to be fixed and when they fix it and it's good for the game. So I can't complain, man. The exploits they fix were good fixes from what I've seen.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about those. They not going to go into a lot of them. It was a substantial update, so that goes to show you that their QA department is on top. There's still some things to be addressed. We'll talk a little bit about those, but some of the items that I see here on the game plan, we'll talk a bit about them. Is that they fixed the legacy issue where defensive linemen would be called for encroachment when offenses were going no huddle. So
How old is that issue?
I might go back to Madden
Listen,
15 or something, right? Yeah.
man, I remember we would play. I remember when Calhoun was in the league. And Calhoun was one of
Mm,
those guys who would run no huddle all the time, and you could count on him getting like two or
hmm.
three encroachment penalties per drive just because of that glitch right there. So I'm so glad
Yeah,
that they fixed that.
yeah, and based on some of the games we've seen early this after the patch, I've not seen that, so it looks like they have fixed it. There's another issue here. They say they had, and I didn't really notice this, but I don't know if you did. They said they addressed an issue where the receivers would have the ball bounce off their arms, and when they're attempting to make a rat catch, it led to some type of interception or a pick.
I've never seen that.
uh, no, but apparently this was a big one, and they had to change some game speeds in MUT and and draft champions, and so they couldn't fix it. So they compensated with some type of speed change. So that was a lot of the talk in the SML chat that the game had slowed down. But have you noticed any speed issues related to the game in CFM?
I have not played a CFM game. I have done practice mode. I am doing practice mode right now, and I don't really
Yeah.
notice any speed images in the practice mode. I have played um, maybe 4 unranked games today, and I don't
Four.
know, man.
Wow.
I can't really tell. Yeah, I played Lons twice. I played BK twice. I'm sorry, I played Lons. Maybe I played three. I played Lons 2 times and BK once. But
Okay. Wow.
this I did not really notice any speed increases or decreases in unranked. So I could be wrong,
Okay.
but it doesn't feel any slower or fast. It doesn't feel much different to me, to be honest.
All right. Yeah, I didn't think so. I know there were reports that it was only in the draft champions or mud or one of those two, I'm sure, and ranked games, obviously. So the counter for that, for those, I think they can turn up this. You can't turn up the speed. I think we've been working on normal, so I don't think we're impacted by that, which is great. We don't need any issues with the speed of the game, and that's good to hear. Uh, let's see what's next here. It says they fixed an issue where there was this zone coverage adjustment to improve an issue where C routes were overpowered when run on the wide side of the field with the tight end on the line of scrimmage.
So I actually have
Um,
this up in my stream right now. I'm running it in practice. And before this
mm-hmm,
patch, if you any zone that you called on the wide side, so I've got a flat corner route combo. If you're on the wide side of the field running like this, any zone that you called on the right, whether it was pink or whether it was a Tampa zone, when that tight end went out into the flat, that that cornerback would turn into a hard flat, or that pink zone would turn into a hard flat, and it would leave that corner route wide open. And if you see me riding that, I'm running it now. That Tampa cornerback stays where he's supposed to stay. So
mm-hmm.
before they fixed that, you would either have to have 3 zones over there, or you would have to manually guard it.
Yeah, and
So
that's a problem. That's a
yeah, so the
problem.
fact that they fixed that is great. Um, yeah, I just added. It still works every now and then, but you can just see on the stream that that corner is not like before. That corner would collapse all the way down on that guy in the flat. Now he's staying about 10 yards back, so it gives him an opportunity to make that play,
Mm-hmm.
even though I've completed it a couple times. But anytime you have to fix something, anytime you've got something that has to be manually guarded, I believe that it needs to be fixed in some way. Just because you should be able
Mm-hmm.
to call a defense without having to. I believe that you should be able to call a defense without having to manually hot route
Mm-hmm.
dudes or whatever to get them to cover a damn route. So
Yeah.
they fixed it. It's great. Um,
Mm-hmm.
weren't I didn't really see that many people using it in the SML. I knew about it and was actually just starting to use it. So the fact that
Mm-hmm.
it's gone kind of means okay, I don't have to resort to cheesiness anymore.
Yeah, yeah. There are some teams. I certainly run my share of corner routes, and I know that.
But I can tell you for a fact that in all other ways, corners are still just as powerful as they were before. They still
Yeah,
torch man. They're
yeah,
still gonna
yeah.
torch any type of hard flat zone, but you just can't trick those zones into playing into biting on the flat routes anymore.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. We don't. We've had. It's funny. We've not heard. The OP. That used to be something traveled with Madden for years. What is OP this year in Madden, if anything? Is there anything that's OP in your
Well,
estimation?
first we
Because
would have to define what OP is, and that is a
yeah,
separate conversation in itself. Because this came up in the chat the other day, and
yeah.
people got some feathers a little ruffled.
Oh
And
yeah. There's.
and I mean to be my and this is just my definition. Like and I just kind of alluded to it a little bit. Like I feel like if you have to make too many adjustments to stop something, and what I mean by that is what I was saying earlier. If I have to manually hot route somebody to stop a route because I don't have a
Mm-hmm,
zone option or something to stop that, I kind of feel like it's overpowered. And those are the kind of routes that
mm-hmm,
people look for. Like for example,
mm-hmm,
out routes. You can stop them, but
mm-hmm,
you pretty much have to move the pink zone all the way out there on some defenses to get the guy to cover that out route. I mean, it's like minor
mm-hmm,
OP, but like that corner route that they patched, I would say that's over. I would say that was overpowered. Stretches when the game first before they had the first patch,
mm-hmm,
I thought were
mm-hmm,
overpowered. Um, but I mean, it doesn't mean I don't mean it doesn't mean if you run that you're glitching. I just think that you should not like if I call AD that is designed to stop this, it
Hmm.
shouldn't be
Hmm.
open all the time. That's just the way I feel
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
left over, man. I mean, really, the one thing that annoys me on this game more than anything else right now is fucking rollouts. I hate fucking rollouts.
And I know why. And I
It's
know why they are painful. You're
yeah,
you're
they
you're playing against one of the rollout kings in your division,
yeah,
so
and I
that,
don't. I
that
mean, and it's nothing against B. B. Miles runs them well, and
yeah.
he is the person who taught me that okay, rollouts are the fucking
Mhm.
shit. But then
Yeah,
you watch the damn Madden championships, and everybody's running
yeah,
rollouts. And then
yeah.
I played Corey in the other league, and every time Corey passed, it
Hmm.
was a rollout. So I started trying
Hmm.
to lab against rollouts. Like, what the fuck can I do? Stop a damn rollout.
Hmm.
And you can't really bring consistent pressure against it because the blocking they
Hmm.
pick up the blocking on that so well, and it seems like they
Hmm.
hold blocks even longer when you call a
Hmm.
rollout play than a normal pass play. Like you don't see those quick block sheds as much in the middle. It's just I don't know what it is, but
Hmm.
it's a tough play to stop. So and
Hmm.
then you got the play action on it too, so you can't really just it's hard to just stay in coverage. And if you stay in coverage, you get that extra time, and then you compound that with a quarterback who can run, and it's just rollouts are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I think you might. I think it does help to have a quarterback that obviously has that mobility and can throw on the run. So right, so they do need to have those traits
Yeah.
because if you're running and you try to throw rolling out, you sometimes don't get that accurate throw unless they set.
Yeah,
And we've
exactly.
experienced that. So everybody can't do it, right?
Yeah, if you don't have, I mean, when you roll out, it's kind of hard sometimes to get control of your quarterback to throw the ball. Like, and what I mean by that is it's hard to make him come to a stop and set and throw. So if you got a guy with good throw and a run, then you can pretty much throw at any point during that rollout, and it's going to be on the money. So that's a big thing. But yeah, that is the one. Outside of that, um,
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, obviously drags are still what they are. Um, But and I don't, but the thing about drags is I don't necessarily think drags are overpowered. I've always said that the thing about drags is that all the default defenses now don't
Hmm.
don't cover drags. So they don't. I
Hmm.
mean, they've got some hard flats in there, but they don't have a lot of hard flats. Like every defense in there, 90% of the defenses in the game are not flat, are not covering flats. So that just naturally leads for those to be open. But rollouts
Hmm.
are a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, they can they could keep you up at night, especially when Cam Newton's running it. So a lot of credit to B Miles for incorporating that into his strategy, and it's been effective to him. Got him to the Super Bowl last season.
Yeah,
All
hats
right.
off.
Yeah, hats off. So there was another one here I wanted to get your perspective on, which was the increased frequency after broken tackles. So the hit stick, I think what they tried to do is that, at least this is what I read or I saw on the live stream from their creative director, was they wanted to make sure if you went for the hit stick and you weren't squared up, that there would be some broken tackles. And I am seeing that in some of the games. I am seeing some guys that are trying to make a hit stick, and I've seen the ball carrier, stumble upfield for a few more yards. So it looks like if you go for that hit, uh, which isn't as lethal as I used to think when you used to use the right thumb. I think you have to use square now. Uh, has been has some risk reward attached to it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I haven't. I thought his stick was underpowered a bit, and I don't know. Underpowered may not be the right word. I don't feel like his stick plays a big part in the games. As big a part in games now as it used to. So to hear that that was not going to be as good was a little frightening. But
Yeah.
I haven't seen a big difference. And if it's just a situation where if you don't have the dude squared up, it's nerfed, then it is what it is. But in the games I played, I haven't really seen shit. BK just won a game off me. just I ran a drag, he killed my dude fumbled, and they scored. So um, as long as it's still
Mhm.
part of the game, I'm fine. I don't feel like they've hurt it that bad. So that sounds like
Yeah.
may work out for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty good. And some other noteworthy enhancements where I don't, you recall we had the issue where the the camera setting would change in the middle of a game, and apparently this is a tactic. I'm told. I used to think there was something that was, you know, randomly or arbitrarily happening, but apparently it's a tactic to disrupt the opponent's camera setting. That there was some tactic where you could do something in the other person's setting. If it wasn't turned, if they didn't have it, toggled on, it would get, you'd go to that 22 wide view, and that was kind of painful for some people to play in. So apparently that was some type of camera glitch that some people had come up with. It's amazing how they find these things.
Yeah, I did
So
not know that that was a tactic. Um,
yeah,
but that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I didn't that
yeah,
I'm glad they fixed that though, because that was a I mean, I haven't heard anything recently where people were complaining about it, but it was definitely a situation
yeah.
where it was a big issue when we first got started.
I recall that, and you had to leave it on in order to toggle out of it. And so these are old school guys who used to use the D-pad, obviously, are affected by that, and I was one of them. So that was, my angles were all messed up, and so it gave me an excuse for why I could throw some interceptions.
Yeah, I still hit it by accident every now and then, but it hasn't been a big issue for me. But I've heard enough complaining from people to know that it's a real issue.
So here's a good one. They tuned a variety of issues related to the offensive line that was too effective against elite defensive linemen. So basically, you could have some bum beast offensive lineman, and he would stop, a very superior defensive lineman. Uh, and so they changed that. So now we should be able to see the difference when a D lineman is going up against a lower rated guy, and those block shed probably times or the finesse moves and power moves to get off blocks are very critical in understanding how you can get pressure on the quarterback.
No, I that was another thing that I saw, and I was just thinking to myself, I kind of really don't like how block sheds are sometimes already. You gonna make that worse? You gonna make
Yeah,
that worse in
exactly.
some situations? But I mean, my biggest issue with the block sheds is like everybody's playing a lot of dollar, big dime, and stuff like that now. And I don't
Yeah.
know if it's the block sheds. I don't know if it's the timing of the handoff, but I just don't feel
Hmm.
like that. Like you got three
Yeah.
dudes on the line, you got two
Yeah.
DBs that are like 5 yards off to the side, and I can't run a
Yeah.
dive before somebody
Yeah.
says a block. Like I don't know. It may be the handoff timing, and I think that's what it is because if you call like one of the faster handoffs, like the
Hmm.
near handoff or fullback dive, you get that ball
Hmm.
and you got some yardage before that shed happens. But if you call like a regular dive in
Hmm.
most formations,
Yeah, they're
it's
off
not.
those blocks.
Yeah, you're not guaranteed to get a yard. Like, come on, man. If somebody came out here in
Yeah.
that lineup in real life, there's no way you'd be able to stop
Yeah.
them from getting a damn yard with five people blocking those three dudes. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I don't know if I haven't seen a difference with that, but I also have not paid a lot of attention to um, my line versus the team's line that I was playing. So I don't know how that's going to affect the game. I do know that my defensive line is really good right now.
Hmm.
So when I play my next league game, I'm gonna be expecting that them dudes to be getting some damn pressure.
Yeah, that is true. All right. Yeah, those are sort of the big ticket items on the update. I don't know if you had any others that were noteworthy. If not, we'll jump over to take a look around the league and see what's going on. There are some surprises, and we'd like to take a look at some of those. Let's go division by division. Let's start off with the AFC East and
Hey
talk
man,
about. Uh-oh. What's
you
that?
see you see. Are you looking at the AFC East right now? Did tell me this?
Uh,
Tell me this.
yeah.
Did Creflo Dollar actually uplift this division? Because everybody
Let's
is 500 or better. He told them boys they would
you too,
overcome.
my brother. You too, my brother, can win the AFC West. East. I am telling you, let's the pulpit, everybody stand up and let me talk to the congregation. You all can win the AFC East if you just try hard enough.
You just gotta
And
believe, and if you believe,
exactly, yes,
we can all
yeah.
overcome.
Yeah, and we shall overcome is right because Buffalo 3-1, the New York Jets. One of my favorite owners is 3-2 in the mix. The old veteran, the wily one, the Patriots right there, and Buffalo with the sim win yeah, last night at 3-1. All right there. I think Miami lost today, a few hours ago to Indianapolis. So I think his prophecy, Monk, might come true that anybody could win this division. Do you believe it?
Hey man,
Is it possible?
it's early.
It's early, yeah, yeah.
Early.
Who? I mean, you know, it would be great because I don't think anybody outside of Miami has won that division in Madden 17. Is that true?
I don't
I don't
recall
believe
anybody
so.
else winning that division.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
or even a wild
recall.
card spot.
I don't recall anybody finishing above 500 in that division.
Yeah, yeah. So they've had some really good picks. I know the Jets have built through the draft. Buffalo had a really good draft. I don't even know if you noticed. They got some really good players. And the Patriots have a monster. I don't know if you ever looked at the Patriots roster, they got a monster roster.
Yeah, they have
Monster.
a good team. So it's
Yeah.
I mean I'd really like to see the Patriots do well. I mean I love KP's my boy. I'd love to see the Bills do well, but he has traded so many good players away. Out I mean I know he's replenished a lot of them, but you got
Hmm.
dudes like Ronald Darby in Washington turning stuff around. You got, Sammy Watkins gone. These are guys who were 22, 23 years old when we started. Like, these are corner piece players. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But so I mean he's 3-1, so I mean obviously there's something to it, but he has let a lot of young talent go. Whereas with the Patriots, it's not many of their moves that they've made where I'd be like, why the hell did you do that? So,
Hmm.
but in the Jets,
Okay.
I love to see the Jets at 3-2. Um,
Hmm.
Again, Todd is one of those players who's relatively new, one of the most committed owners we have, and I want to see those guys win.
I do too, man. And there was a big game against Jets played Kansas City, and that to me was a litmus test. You know, it's like, hey, we 2-0. We playing Kansas City. Nothing against Kansas City. Kansas City can't come up and bite you if you're not careful. And we wanted to see how they responded, and they tripped up in that game. And I know Coach, we had a sidebar conversation with Coach, and he was upset with himself, and he takes ownership for it. But he said, I'm gonna get back on track. He understood what he needed to do. He's got his guy Dugans playing some good football from a quarterback perspective. And but if they could just get a little bit more out of his running game, I'm not sure. You know, Kendall Gregg, think is his halfback, and some other guy named Josh Ferguson. And these guys got to step up, and I need to see more from his running game. And I think the Jets could be better.
Yeah, he needed to win that game. That's a game he
Yeah.
needed to win. Not no offense to Booker, but he needed to win that game.
All right, all right. So let's go to the next division. Let's take a look at the AFC North, where the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, we haven't heard from Cleveland recently, and they are back with Baltimore and Cincinnati, who I believe lost today, uh, bringing up the rear. Uh,
I was not even aware that the Browns were 3-1.
yeah, they've quietly been winning some games. They had a shootout against Arizona, I believe, where I think Coleman, their wide receiver, had a big game and actually got Player of the Week honors. But yeah, they've been playing some really good football. I know they wanted to come back after last year's disappointing season, but they got some other guy named Nick Garcon who's also making a lot of plays for them. So,
The Browns are
you know,
actually 4-1, and this just in.
oh,
They beat the Rams 29-23.
what? They beat the Rams?
Yep.
Oh,
This just in. They are 4-1.
oh, wow! I didn't. That game was not televised. As far we don't know much about it.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, it's
guessing
funny
the
because
West.
I'm looking at the standings during the show, and the Browns were showing 3-1, and I went to go see who they were playing, and they are 4-1 when you look at their schedule. So that
Oh,
must have just
that's
finished. Yep. Now they're 4-1 in the standings. So yeah, they beat the Rams. That's the big win, even though the Rams have been struggling. Browns might be
yeah,
back.
it is. Yeah, the Browns might be back, and that is serious win right there because I guess they're playing the NFC West. So good win by Cleveland, and but this is Squirrel's division. He's taken ownership uh, of this division. Ginger's back at the Ravens, but he's just not been able to pull out of the funk of this Ravens. We've had a lot of owners with the Ravens, and nobody's been able to pull them above heat and straight shaking them. A wily vet has struggled with Cincinnati. He had a season to kind of get his you know find his way with the Bengals, and it doesn't seem like he's figured it out yet.
Yeah, that I'm not sure the Bengals team. Well, the problem with the Bengals that I recall is they got some age on them with some of their key pieces, and the thing, and Coach Straight shaking them has not played in a while, and jumping into this Madden after not playing for a while is not the thing you want to do. But I would expect a similar trajectory to the Patriots, to Pedro with the Patriots. It's going to take him a
Yeah,
season or two to get back in the swing of things. So we'll see. We shall see.
yeah, yeah.
We got some word in here. They with regards to your comment that the AFC North is Squirrels division. Somebody said that sounds weird. Said nobody ever. Said that
they're not used to hearing that,
not
but
hearing anyone say that the division belongs to Squirrel.
and this is sort of one of the things about Madden 17 that's been very interesting is that there are opportunities for a lot of teams that have traditionally not been mentioned as doing well that are doing well. And certainly Squirrel, when I watch his games, he's playing solid football. He's got, as we know, 10 wide receivers all running verticals. And when he throws it to one of them, they catch it in traffic. It doesn't matter who's around them. And that is when you're running verticals, and they're catching the passes like that, that makes it very difficult to defend. And if he gets any running out of that group, and he's got this guy, I forget this DB named Southward or something, but this guy is like player of the week every week.
But can't keep a
So,
starting gig.
yeah. So listen, we watching what Pittsburgh's doing, and until proven otherwise, it looks like Cleveland and Pittsburgh are going to be battling it out for AFC North supremacy.
Yeah, that,
All
that
right.
looks that way, and they got a nice little friendly rivalry going, so it'll be nice to see how that works out.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing is well, all right, we'll talk about when we get to the AFC West. Let's go to the AFC South, where you've got Indianapolis is undefeated yet again. I think last year they were undefeated around this time with Tennessee, Houston, and Jacksonville, all 500 or below. And they've already got a 3.5 game lead. And is it over? Can we say it's over?
Yeah, we could say it's over. Cause
Yeah, it's
I mean, I don't remember, and I could be wrong. I will probably be corrected, but I don't really remember the last time. Have the Texans beaten the Colts recently? You know,
I can't remember.
I know they lost
Maybe.
to them this season, obviously. And we
Yeah, they
know,
did.
and we know the Titans. Uh, they've published plenty of newspaper articles that their season is over after week two. So I don't think they'll turn
Yeah,
around. And
yeah,
the Jags,
yeah. Jags. We'll talk about them in a minute. So the I guess that's that's definitely definitely with my morning coffee. There's a lot of Jag news that comes across the
But
the
this,
screen.
yeah, this
But
Marquise Conrad dude
yeah,
is
yeah, he is serious business.
sheesh.
He is just so you know, he's making $510,000. He's not even making $1 million. This guy's in his second year, I believe. 96 speed. I think he scored about 4 or 5 touchdowns today against Miami. It's nothing, and they throw it to him out of the backfield. He's doing everything for them. He's got a lot of backups on that team that could definitely be playing as well. But his receiving core, he was going to trade Andrew Luck in the offseason, didn't get a good enough deal. And Andrew Luck, like most young quarterbacks, is just developing perfectly and throwing the ball all over the lot to Dorsett and Dante Moncrief. So uh, I don't see anytime you play Indianapolis, you go into that building, it's a formidable task to beat them. They've got multiple formations and they're bringing heat off the edge. I don't know if you noticed, but they got these guys coming off the edges and all these different varying blitzes. Samuel Stablin is one of their main guys. They're right in. So it's
Yeah,
it's looking
I haven't
tough
played
for the
these
AFC.
guys. I do. They
Yeah.
play. We play their division this year, which I'm excited about because I have not. I've never. I haven't played Renegade this Madden. Haven't played my old buddy Swagger this Madden. We were old division mates last Madden, so those will be a couple games I'll look forward to. And then Loco. I haven't played Loco yet, so it'll be fun. I'll get to see all this nonsense, so I can't wait for those games.
Yeah. Uh, you spoke about the Texans. Now, here's the thing about the Texans. The Texans, they've got some quality wins on their schedule, and then they go and lose some games you wouldn't think that they would lose. So you would think that they would be at least 4-1. They're 2-3,
I
but have
know.
had some
I looked at that the other day, and I was after he had beat. Who did he beat recently? B Mouse. He beat the Bucks, and I was like,
yeah.
damn, Swagger's turning this shit. He's gonna be nice this year. And I went and looked at his record. He was 500. I was like, hell, this dude beat the Chargers. His two wins are against both teams that played in the fucking Super Bowl, and his
I
losses.
know.
But
I
his schedule,
know.
in his defense, he's played
Yeah.
Renegade, Ratchet, you, the Bucks. So
And the
that's a
Titans.
tough stretch. But his two
Yeah, those.
wins are against the two teams that played in their Super Bowl. So
Yeah,
and it don't get no easier. He got BK next
no.
week. Then he's
Yeah.
got 3 or 4 winnable games after that. Oh man, his schedule's not easy. Wow.
No. Yeah, he's had. That's a tough opening, but I would
It
have
ain't
thought.
easy towards the back end either. He's got damn. He's got BK
Yeah.
next. He's got the Bills, Jags, but he just lost to the Titans, so that could be lost. Then he's got Renegade, Ravens, Jags, me, J Miles, and then he's got the Saints and the Chiefs at the end. Anyway, yeah, but those two quality wins, but man, that schedule was brutal to start.
Yeah, and that division having to play the NFC South and the AFC West,
Hmm.
those are both divisions that have been sending 2 and 3 teams to the playoffs almost consistently, and so that's a problem. That's a problem. All right, the Titans. You spoke about them briefly. Listen, that they took. Let's talk about them a little bit. When they came into the league, the cap was all jacked up. A lot of aging players. So I think it's at a place now where he's transitioned. Has got his signature, got his name on the team. Uh, I guess if we were to speak to Loco, he probably wouldn't be happy with where he has them. I mean, he blew up the Chiefs, but then when he played Indianapolis, lost by 21 and then lost to Carolina. We didn't see those games, but it's tough to evaluate them. I haven't seen many Titans games, but what's your take on Tennessee?
I mean, when he put, like I said, when he took over that team, they were old. He had a lot of
Yeah.
changes to make. He had a ton of cap room this year. He was happy with how he spent it. I was a little surprised that he came out of it without getting a player like uh like what's his name, David Johnson. Like
Who was
you got an
available?
explosive offensive player out there. I kind of felt like if you got 60 mil in cap or however much he had, that you would spend it, I don't know, maybe on the best player who was in free agency. But he has decided to stick with Keith Marshall and Abdullah at running back, and he's having problems running the ball. So that is one thing to look at. Um,
Mhm.
on defense, they look pretty solid, but again, they still have some dudes hanging around like Dale Revis still on the
Darrell
team.
Reeves still in the league. Yeah, that's
He probably
now.
got like 79 speed. He's playing safety now, but at any rate, I mean, they got some talent now. The biggest thing I think holding them back is just, like I said, confidence in game plan and confidence week in and week
Mhm.
out. He just doesn't sound that You give him a press conference and he's just not feeling very good about his team or his scheme.
Yeah, yeah, we did notice that in the reading our morning paper that there was some just not feeling so good about his group. But we don't know if that's going to get any better because he plays the Patriots. These are his next 5 games: Patriots, Monarchs, Falcons, Texans, and Chargers. Those are his next 5, so that is a tough stretch.
He's
All
two
right,
and
let's
two
go.
though,
Let's
so yeah, he could pull those out.
he could. Let's go to the last team in that division, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, I'm taking a dramatic pause here, Monk, and this is why. This is
Sorry.
why. I
All right,
I
serious.
got I got a lot of love for what Mind and Mind is trying to do in Jacksonville. You know what? When we've added owners, we kind of evaluate them and are they able to handle the media? Are they able to stand up for their beliefs on how they're running their team and then take their plan and implement it? It looks like Mind and Mind is handling the media. There's been a lot of critics on some of his moves, but I'm not seeing the results. And this is why. Your quarterback is the most important position on the field. And when you trade that, and he admittedly he said, perhaps that was a mistake, but it sounded like he wasn't sure. And that's where I had to go Stephen A on him and go, how are you not sure that that was a mistake? That was a mistake. Now you need to rectify that immediately. And there were some quarterbacks that were available that I was like, I want to see if Mind in Mind gets this quarterback situation straight. Aaron Rodgers was available. I mean, I don't know what the price was, but he was available. There were some other middle range quarterbacks that I think that were better than Tyrod Taylor that hit this that they could have gotten. And to me, that's the key. And then they don't have any cap space now. So obviously they can't make too many moves in free agency. So that's off the table. And the only thing you can do is draft these folks or make trades and make sure you stay within your cap. But they don't have any draft picks. Now they just got 2 picks from Denver. Those will probably be high picks, but this has been a learning experience for the Jaguars, is my opinion here, Monk.
Yeah, I mean, like you hit the nail on the head. I like his activity level, but every now and then, man, it's just some trades. Not even every now and then. Very frequently, there are trades, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, why did that happen? Like when I saw like Jalen Ramsey is one of those dudes who I expect to never get traded on this game. Like I'm just gonna say that. Like no one should trade Jalen Ramsey. This dude is young. He is probably the best young corner on the game. Shoot, he can be the best young safety on the game, whatever you want to make him. And I saw that trade with Tim Man, and I mean it was off. It was like completely off after I actually looked at it. But
Mm-hmm.
it got posted, and then I believe he was like, and then I believe mine of me was like, no, no, he jumped the gun. We never agreed to that. You shouldn't even be discussing no trade about Jalen Ramsey. Like, how do you? What
No,
is that?
no,
So anyway,
no. Jalen Ramsey is untradeable, and we just got one of our notes to the chat that we didn't talk about something, and this affects you, the Fuller trade from the Texans. Speaking of trades, it was rumored. and confirmed that Fuller was traded and he could have got more, but to spite another team, traded him to a rival, division rival, to spite a team in that division. Have you heard about this?
I did hear about that, man. Um, I mean, it is what it is. I don't care. Like, I'm not mad about that. I just think it's really silly. I just think it's, and I don't even know if this is the reason he did it. And it is what it is. His team. Do what you want to do. But if it is
Mm-hmm.
true, which he did say it was, and he could have just been joking, if it is true that you could have had better deals and you took a worse deal to spite me, I ain't nobody. What if I won this Madden? Like, spite Lon,
Yeah.
spite franchise, spite Ratchet. But I
Yeah.
can guarantee
Yeah.
you, I'm not going to take a worse deal to spite nobody because at the end of the day, my goal is to make my team the best that they can be. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not happy about the fact that I have to deal with Will Fuller and Cooks and Mike Evans. But hey, man, I feel. You know who I feel like right now? You know, I feel like right now
Who do you feel
LeBron.
like, Mom?
I feel like LeBron
You feel like LeBron? Preach,
because
brother. Wait,
because
wait,
I've
wait.
already, I got the best
Uh-huh.
team I could get. You know what I'm saying? That's fine.
Yeah.
And then
Mm-hmm.
you go over here and the rant goes
Mm-hmm.
to the Warriors. And I go against Jay Miles. I feel like I'm playing. I mean, B Miles. I feel like I'm playing with house money. Because
Yeah.
if I beat him, you ain't gonna be able to say nothing. If I lose, this
Yeah.
motherfucker got Will Fuller and Cooks. But my
Yeah.
team's good too, man. I'm just joking with y'all. But at the end of the day, like I don't think anybody should be making trades to make their
Mm-hmm.
that are not gonna make their team as good as they can be just to make somebody else angry, especially somebody who ain't won nothing. This mad.
This is true. This is true. And there's been a few recommendations about, what type of trades to make, with who, and how you make them, right? And if you're in the same division, obviously, and you're trading major assets to somebody that you have to compete with, you need to be very careful about that. And
I mean,
a lot of talk
everybody
about
does, and the other thing is, everybody doesn't have the same rules. Some people look for different things. I understand and respect that, but I just feel like, I mean, there are certain, and this is just me. Like, this is the way I evaluate talent. Like, there are certain things that I would never trade. Like, if you got a receiver who has 95 or 96 speed, with, I think Fuller's the only receiver on the game with that kind of speed who's over 6 feet. Or if you got a running back who has like 93, 94 speed and like 80 plus truck, like there's only like two or three of those in the game. Like, these are the players that I feel like people should
yeah.
keep and build around because you're not gonna get another player like that. Every draft, people go into the draft and they're like, I'm gonna try to find me a 93, a 95 speed receiver that's 6'1" with 80 catch and everything, and that dude never comes. So
Yeah.
I feel like you should keep those people, but everybody doesn't do
Yeah.
that. And a lot of
No.
people, and to piggyback on that, a lot of people, when I traded Julio, was like, I would never trade Julio. And the fact is if Julio would have had 93 speed the whole time, I would have never traded Julio. But Julio started dropping, and then he starts dropping. So now he's like, what, 89 speed? There's a ton of receivers with 89 speed and a bunch of catching traffic. And I couldn't have gotten, and you can see when I tried to trade him, I didn't get everything I wanted for him because once that speed started dropping, his value started going down. So I suffered for it. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I think I came out of it all right. But I would never have traded him if he was that unicorn territory, that 93 speed tall receiver. But it is what it is, man. Run your team like you want to. That's why I like the SML.
Yeah. And listen, Jalen Ramsey's is 24 years old, and he's playing him at free safety now, I believe. That dude should retire in a Jaguar jersey. That's just my take. All right.
Should, but we'll
We're
see.
talked enough about that. We will see is right. We will see if their plan for season four is realized. All right, let's go to the AFC West. We spent a lot of time on the AFC South. The AFC West, the division I know near and dear. Oakland Raiders on top of that division at 3-1. Denver right there at 2-1. I'm not sure if this is updated as of today. San Diego 3-2. It is, and our Kansas City Chiefs 1-4. We're gonna give a big shout out to the Chiefs owner, on their recent loss. A lot of love was there between the owner and his missus, who passed away due to cancer. So we want to give a big shout out and a lot of love, and and then we reached out to them directly and told them at any time they wanted to chat offline or just about anything,
Yeah,
they should be able
very
to reach
sad,
out to me.
very
Yeah,
sad, and everybody should know. I mean, I don't know if I know with the chat it flies by so fast. A lot of people miss stuff, but Book had a big loss, and he has been in the chat. There have been a couple times in the chat where he's reached out and been like, "Hey, I need to talk to somebody." So y'all make sure you
yeah,
keep up with Book, check on him, um,
yeah,
and just recognize what's happened to him, what he's going through. And Madden, it seems like right now is one of his only outlets to dealing with stuff. So you guys make sure y'all take care of Book.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, Book. If you're listening, we don't know if you're on the air tonight, but a lot of love for you, and we hope everybody
And
does
y'all
the
make
same in
sure
terms of reaching
And y'all make sure y'all watch that Y9 video that I posted if y'all want some
out.
real solid defensive tips.
If you want some techniques. All right. As we were saying, so the
Bring
AFC
us out.
West, listen, this this division is
Would you like
a
to be a
fist
guest?
fight every year.
What would I talk about?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm
Mrs. Monk
sorry.
is on the is Mrs.
Mrs.
Monk
Monk
coming
walked in
in?
the room. I asked her if she want to be a guest, and she said she want to talk about politics. We do not talk about politics on this show. So
Oh.
Oh, very good. That's what I
Yeah.
want. I
Yeah, there's a lot of we need another stream for that type of conversation with all the
yeah,
stuff that's going on.
sorry,
There's no value to my conversation.
there is not.
Okay. I'll value my ass right back out of the room. Have fun.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Peace out.
Shout out to Mrs. Monk. Wanted to talk about Trump,
Yeah,
but yeah. So Denver 2-1 right there. San Diego, the reigning champ at least for season three, going into season four is at 3-2 after his slow start. And the Chiefs, listen, this division has had three teams in the playoffs. I think two out of the three seasons. And if you know, when we're looking across the divisions, we did see some other teams above 500 that could challenge for that. So we'll see if this division squeezes out three. Um,
yeah. I think you guys will
very
be in the thick of things like you always are. I do want to point out that one of that Broncos loss was to the Lions.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of those stunners. And then again, we're gonna go over
We're
to
gonna
talk
get
about
there in a
Sticky.
minute.
Yeah, but I couldn't say I saw that coming. Uh, I don't know what happened there. Maybe I don't know. We didn't. That game wasn't televised, but Sticky has improved. But then we said, okay, he plays Denver, and then his next game after that was San Diego. We'll talk about that. But Monk, listen, this division, I can just tell you from personal. I struggle against both. I struggle against all these teams, and they know me so well, and we know each other so well, and that's been the beauty of it. So we're trying to develop some different schemes and different approaches to playing them, and we'll see how successful we are. And I expect Denver and San Diego to be right there when the dust settles. So no rest, and it'll come down to the end, and I'll see them in the playoffs.
That seems to be the story every year.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's swing it over to NFC. Let's go to the NFC East.
All right.
NFC East, where the Washington Redskins,
Hey,
the
Redskins looking good.
Bahama drama. Speaking of owning divisions, I think we need to put a ownership. Hey, this is mine. This is mine with the Washington Redskins.
I
I
mean,
believe that
they
they
won it
can
every
say
time.
they own this division, and I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody challenging them there.
No, I don't.
I don't see it.
I question. Well, I can't really question the commitment of the Giants, but I question. I haven't seen any movement, any upward movement from any other team in that division. The
Listen,
Eagles are all over the map. Cowboys gave up 75 points to the Packers.
Yeah,
and I
is
don't know
just
what's going on with the Giants. So
the
I just don't
Giants
see it.
have the potential. The Giants have the potential. I've seen one or two Giant games, and you could see they have the potential. But the way the Redskins are playing, they are bringing heat off the edge. They always got some guy named Beckham. They got about four Beckhams running around in various parts of their team.
I
If their name is Beckham, Bahamas got to have them, right?
I
And
told him he should go back
and
and get Bubba again, man. Get all them Beckham
yeah,
twins together.
that's right. He's bending it like Beckham. And the beauty of what I've noticed what Washington is doing is they're running the ball well at times, and that's not something I recall Washington doing a lot of. And they're mixing it in with the pass. They're turning people over. We've seen a lot of tremendous user interceptions coming from Washington, so that's making opponents think about throwing the ball over the middle. But
They
I think
they
they
go
were
ahead.
one game away from the Super Bowl, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
they were. I mean, they had a good season last year, but they've been pretty dominant this year outside of that bad showing against the Dolphins. I mean, he actually does run. He's run into a similar problem that I have in that his running backs are getting hurt. Like the past, I think
that's
3 seasons, he's had his running backs get injured. And his running back that he's got this year got injured. When he had Bubba Green Beckham got injured. I believe Eric Money got
right.
injured last year. So it's hard to stick with the running game when you got some backup in there that you didn't expect to be running. But I mean, he typically runs until it gets to that point. But they're looking good this year, man. They got some exotic pressure schemes coming off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And with those schemes, you know it just like everybody else. Sometimes you don't really know if that pressure's coming, and if you ain't prepared for it, it's gonna be in your face before you have a chance to do anything about it. So their quarterback underwent a name change.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. This now he's Rico Dynamite. I mean, these name changes are killing me. It's hard to keep up with them if they're some are using just exclamation points and apostrophes. It's been tough to keep up with these guys. Now he's Rico Dynamite. I forget what he was called before.
Max
Forget his
something, Max
Yeah,
maybe
he was
Max Thomas or
Max.
something.
Yeah, he was Max
It's a
Thomas. But
plague,
now,
man. It's a plague, and
yeah.
I'm
So
too old and too tired to
yeah,
go
yeah.
and fight these dudes. Just please, just
Yeah.
keep it to one name change and don't change people's names multiple times. All I ask.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. We'll talk about that in the off season. All right, let's go over to the next division, which is the NFC North. Let's go to the NFC North, one of our favorite divisions to talk about. With the
The
pull them up
Lions,
really.
3-1, are leading that division, and as we predicted, the fall of Billy Harvey is is with this first place schedule. This first place schedule is digging him a new one, boy.
What a difference a season makes, right? So a lot of a lot of the talk last year coming out of Green Bay was that they were for real and that their 14-2 was not inflated. They proceeded to go and play, I believe, Tampa Bay at the time in the playoffs and were pretty much destroyed. Well, I don't believe that game was close. I think they played Detroit. I mean, I'm sorry, Tampa. And
21-10.
now, yeah, it was I don't know. It didn't seem that close to me. But now, everybody's healthy because I know they've had some injuries. We had the what I'll call the internet gate, where Adrian Peterson got hurt, and then the game disconnected. So we're calling that internet gate, and but he did end up serving his suspension, right? I believe there was a four
Yeah,
game suspension.
3 game suspension. He missed Bears, Cowboys, and Redskins, and came back against the Chargers.
So kudos for that and the league for weighing in on that one because we were curious how that was going to work out. But
Well, and what
it looked
I do want to say kudos to Billy Harvey. He didn't give me any issues with it. He actually reached out to me and said, "This is what happened. I think you're right. I think these guys should sit. Whatever you want to do, I'm fine with it." So I appreciate that from you guys, whether you know it or not. I mean, you can't fight over everything, and I mean, you got hurt and you disconnected. The shit looks suspicious, so it's just best to go ahead and do the right thing. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, his connection got a little shaky there. But Roland Wright Harvey, listen, he's played some tough teams as you see up on the screen. Opening day loss to the Monarchs, beat the Bears. The Bears are an up and coming team. We'll talk about them. But
This
then when you put up,
75-8 Cowboys game is the most
I
perplexing
mean,
game I have seen this entire
I
Madden.
I think that's the highest we've ever seen in Madden 17.
As
I didn't
high
even
as I've
notice.
ever seen against a non
Yeah,
CPU.
yeah, and we know Dallas isn't Dallas like we know them to be because we know that was it's a tough loss, but 75 points is still 75 points. And
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that happens. Prescott threw 9 interceptions.
yeah,
I,
that'll do
I,
it.
I just, I don't even know. I mean, but the thing about it is, if you look at the stats, I don't know what it is outside of the fact that no one should ever let Billy Harvey throw for 8 touchdowns, and no one should ever let Ty Montgomery have 302 yards receiving when he's not even fast. Like, I don't know what the hell happened, and I don't really
Yeah,
care. But that is
yeah.
like not competing, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I haven't seen Zeke Elliott. We didn't talk about this when we talked about the East. I've not seen him get back to where he was in season one. If you recall, they were giving it to him 20 and 30 times a game, and they were riding him. And Dallas was doing well when they were doing that. But I've not seen that. So
Man, I'm not. I don't know, man. I can't really. Like, there was a time when you could count on Coach Silver to go out there and execute a game plan, and ever it was just like when they first got Des Bryant and he was first had the Cowboys with Des Bryant, he just changed from this guy who would control the clock and control the game to this dude that wanted Des Bryant to have 3,000 yards receiving every year, regardless of the cost. And ever since then, it's just been like, I mean, when he focuses and plays the game he's supposed to play, he's a tough player. But sometimes he just don't want to do that. So I
yeah.
don't know what to do.
Another surprise in that division is the Minnesota Vikings. Typically, Minnesota is usually running the NFC North, but they are down at the bottom. And and with Detroit at 3-1, we'll talk about them in a second. Minnesota has struggled. Now we know they were looking to trade Aaron Rodgers from their team, which I don't know what your thoughts are about that. Is that something you want to do?
I would never
Um,
trade Aaron Rodgers because he's his age, like he's old, he's 35, but he's never going to decline to a level where the quarterback you get is going to be better than him. And but
mhm,
then you also kind of have this like weird thing going on where you're probably not going to get full value for him either, which is stupid because you should give a lot of stuff for Aaron Rodgers. Like it's weird because he's 35, but he's still got like 92 throw power and like 90 plus mid, short, and deep. So he's gonna be better than any quarterback you have, like for the next 2 seasons. But it's got to be perplexing because I know some people out there who kind of aren't thinking about that or like wondering whether he's gonna retire, whether how much he's gonna regress when it's a flat 2 point regression. So I would imagine that Polo has not gotten great offers for him. Um, and to be honest with you, I had discussions to get Aaron Rodgers, but I can't afford him. Like his salary is a little high. That's another issue that may be an issue because he makes a crap ton of money. Um, but I mean, you got him. He can be your quarterback for the rest of Madden. And as much as Polo likes to pass, um, I don't think he'll trade him unless he gets a lot for him, and I don't know anyone out there who's going to give him a lot for him just because of his salary and his age.
well, if you look at the Redskins, to your point, they've got some a litmus test coming up against Detroit after they play Oakland tomorrow, and then they play Green Bay. So It's still early. I think they can turn it around. They have an explosive offense. The Black Mike Martz is definitely somebody you need to be concerned about with his route combinations that he comes up with. So I'm curious. This is where I see it, Monk. After they play Oakland, the Lions, Packers. Uh, I think we'll see a lot there. We'll find out if Detroit is for real. Because if they
They
could
need to
beat
win.
Minnesota,
Yeah, they need to win all four of those
yeah,
games after. I mean, they need to beat you. They need to beat the Raiders. But if they don't beat you, if they don't win the four in a row after that, they have the Chargers, Seahawks, Packers again, and the Falcons. I mean, they're going to be looking at 8 or 9 losses very easily if they don't win. If they don't run those four.
yeah, yeah. Now let's go to Detroit really quick. Is Detroit for real? Is Detroit for real? Is the question.
It's too early. I mean,
Too early.
The Bears are their wins against the Bears and their wins against the Broncos are two very impressive wins. Don't get me wrong. Um, those are no one expected them to win the game against the Broncos for sure. The Bears have been solid. Most people they were not the favorites in that game. They did get blasted by the champs. Um, their schedule is not easy. I can't say, man. I'm happy to see Sticky start like that, and I hope he got some
Yes.
confidence from it, and that
Yes.
he can roll those into some wins. I mean, he's got winnable
Yeah.
games. He's got
Let,
some winnable games.
let me
I'd like to see him turn around.
let me tell you. Let me share a story that we was reported out of Bleachers, I believe, about Sticky. Sticky reported, I think after season 2 or 3, that he wanted to quit. He was like, I'm not being competitive, and this league has been a challenge. Was the report coming out of Detroit? And we said to him, are you enjoying it? Are you having fun? And he says, yeah, I'm enjoying it. He says, but I don't want to hold a spot when somebody else could be doing better. And I says, nah, man, it's not about that. You you definitely, if you're enjoying it and you're playing your games on time and you could be found and all that good stuff, you stay, man. We will keep you, and you just got to get better, you know. And he said, okay. And ever since then, he turned it around. And just to see him at this point, I'm happy for him because he stuck it out. He had a plan. I know everybody only kind of talks to him when they want to make a deal, right? I noticed that's the only time we hear
Oh
Sticky's
yeah,
name. Like, who's the
Sticky
Lions owner?
Sticky
It's
made a
like
trade.
so.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
yeah.
and so
I agree with you 100%, man, because it was one of those things where like I pay during the draft, I'm paying attention to the people who are at the draft, especially if you have a high draft pick. And I remember after that first draft, I think Sticky had the number 1 pick, and he didn't show up for the draft.
yep,
So I
yep,
was like, okay, you won't show up for the number 1 pick. Like, you can't care about
yeah,
this. But since then, Sticky's been in the
yeah,
draft. Sticky's been playing his games, and you can see it. It shows. I'm glad to see the dude start 3-1. I would be thrilled if he won this division. That would be awesome.
man, man, that there would be nothing better. That would be and he's got some his next three or next four. We're gonna find out where Sticky because if he beats Dallas and Minnesota and the Chiefs could be a winnable game, and then he's got the Packers. He could be at the midpoint, in some good position. So we'll find out. He did trade away, I believe, one of his top receivers, and that did concern me to Jacksonville, I believe. That guy Will Height. So
We're gonna have to get
we'll
Sticky
see.
on the show.
Yeah, we got to just to see Sticky. What's
Some of
what's
these
on his
dudes,
mind?
some of these dudes that don't like to talk a lot, man. That's who we're gonna focus on getting on this show.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's move it along to the NFC South. One of my second favorite division behind the NFC North. And let's talk about the undefeated team on the top of that division, the Atlanta Falcons. Are they back? I
Man,
think they're back.
I don't think so. I haven't played any games, man. I
I think
played
I
I
think
played
the
2 games
Falcons
and
are
I got
back.
2 sims. I don't know if the Falcons are back. We'll see.
The Falcons are back because of the following, and we quietly follow this team and their progress. First of all, Jack Downs, the much publicized Jack Downs. Nobody's talking about the Jack Downs Jared Goff deal anymore. We don't hear anything about that because I think both owners are happy with the change. Second, we noticed that the Atlanta Falcons grabbed a backup quarterback, Sam Bradford, to deal with the injury concerns that Jack exhibited last season when he got hurt. So they're pretty safe there. I mean, Sam Bradford doesn't have the great arm power, but he's definitely accurate with his short and mid in the mid to high 80s. But this team goes as Tevin Coleman goes, and I believe Tevin is hurt again. Uh,
I don't get it, man.
right, he's hurt. He's getting hurt again, but he does have some backups with this guy Renell Sayers and I think some other guy named Pounds. So they're able to survive there. But where they've made the improvements are the wide receiver cores, and it looks like they've got that dog because they needed that dog to replace Julio. And Keenan Allen and Kevin White are both 1 and 1A dogs in my mind. So that are the biggest reasons why I think we'll see Atlanta right there competing for a championship.
I'd like to see it, man. But the thing that I want to talk about Atlanta, I'm not gonna talk about this team too much because I'm proud. I'm more proud of this than anything else. Like we have even made some changes here and there, but there are two players on my team, one in particular that I got off the fucking free for all scrap heap. His name is
Oh,
his name is Asher Kroom. He's my left end. He's 24 years old. He is leading the league in sacks, and he
yeah,
has
we noticed that.
91 power moves and 87 block share. And I built him from the fucking ashes. He is
Now,
what dreams are made of. Okay.
so you developed Asher Kroon. Is that what you're saying? You
I got
developed.
Asher Kroom from free for all. He was like a 70 maybe when I got him. But he had some decent stats. Like he had 91 strength. I didn't change that. He had like maybe 80 power move, like maybe 80 block shed, like 80. He had some 80 solid stats, and then he had like 70s in the other statistical category. So it was one of those situations where I saw him and I was like, all right, I can work on this dude and build him. And I focused on him all last year and focused on my defensive line all last year. And he got Player of the Week this last week, man. Proud of Asher Cream. So
Yeah.
he's traded out. He's got 49 awareness, but he's got everything you want. He's got the strength, he's got the power moves, he's got the block shed, high tackle. So this guy's gonna make a Pro Bowl, and you're gonna be looking at Reggie White, and I'm gonna be real happy with myself.
So is it a matter of, hey, we will know when the playoffs come around because the Monarchs are right there at 3-1, and Carolina 2-1 and 1. We'll talk about that in a second. But is it just a matter of, hey, we'll see come playoffs, do we take much away from the regular season? The Monarchs went to the Super Bowl last year and lost to San Diego. Are they hungry? I mean, what is your sense coming out of London, of all places, about how they are going at it? Are they hungry because they lost the Super Bowl? Is it, hey, I made it and I'm not going to really need to do the work this season? What's your take on where London is this year?
Well, I haven't played him yet, so I don't really know, scheme wise, what's new and what's not. Um, I mean, they dropped their game to? They lost to the Texans. That's right.
Yeah, they
It's
lost to the
early,
Houston.
man. It's early. It's hard to say. I think personally, and this is just what I think. Me and I don't think me and B Miles really get in the swing of things until we play each other a couple times. Like after we play, and if he beats me, he's gonna be feeling himself, and if I beat him, I'm gonna be feeling myself going forward. So it's hard to say. I know it's hard. Like right now, my record, like I said, I've only played 2 games, 2 of them in sim. I can't say I'm back. At the end of the day, this division is gonna come down to if he beats me or if I beat him. So we'll see.
Mhm. Uh, he's right there at 3-1. He's got his rookie running back. I think his name is Cordarius. I believe his name. He's definitely been added. He's added the Fuller We talked about that as another weapon. So add him to Brandon Cooks, add him to Mike Evans.
Hey, we
He's got a
had the
lot of speed.
yeah, we had the what was I think it was BK who started posting the trade commandments, and B and that dude, look, man, do not negotiate trades with Brandon Maury in public where there unless you are in public or somewhere where he cannot lock you in that dungeon. Because if you get in that
Yeah,
dungeon, you are not getting out until he gets that
yeah,
deal.
yeah. We heard that's how he got Brandon Cooks in a car dealership. Some type of trade negotiated in a car dealership. So we don't know how true that is, but
the
you know,
Panthers, the Panthers have just taken my comments and put them on their bulletin board.
uh, let's talk about the Panthers because listen, we talked about the quarterback position. So they had Cam Newton and they traded him for Jameis Winston.
Jameis is
So when you
good.
make the Jameis is good, but they drafted. I believe they had this running back. They had Darian Whitner, who was arguably running for MVP honors, but then they took another back. I think they had that Bubba Green Beckham guy, right? That as now is their runner, and they're trying to trade Darian. And so I'm just curious. It seems like the Panthers have just come up short, and it's always around the 15th, 16th, 17th game of the season. They're right there. They got to make a play, and I know the division's tough, but what is the difference on why this team hasn't? I mean, this is a championship caliber team. Luke Kuechly. I mean, they've got a lot of talent on this team.
Yeah, they and what I will say, I mean, I know we just kind of like stepped on them, and I ain't gonna say we. I know I just kind of said it's between me and B Miles. I mean, that's what it's been every season. It is what it is. But with that said, this dude, what I will say about J Miles is that David Johnson offseason move was a stuff of fucking genius
Hmm.
because like I know I had enough cap room to bid on him, and I know a lot of people did. My thought process was, Loco is gonna put so much money on this dude. It's not even worth me wasting my time spending anything on this guy. And
Hmm.
J Mouse swooped in there, stole him, and then put him on the market and got a massive upgrade at running back. A lot of people don't know this, but like the back that J Mouse had was solid, and I think he's got him the star trait. But the difference between Whitner and Beckham is like Whitner will never be what Beckham is. Like Beckham has truck, Beckham has like 98 juke move, courtesy of Bahama who built him, which I'll go ahead and give him the props. But he got a massive upgraded back. Um, Jameis for Cam, I mean, it helped the Bucks a lot, but it also, Jameis is a solid quarterback. But the Panthers defense, they've been known for defense, and it's just not been. I don't think their defense has been playing at the same level. They're really weak in the secondary. Um, their best corner, I think, is a 79, Bradbury. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think they lack an identity, man, and that's what it really is. They don't really run it great. They
Yeah.
don't pass it great. So they've got some stuff to do. They've got some talent there.
Yeah, they're right there in there. They had a tie recently, and I don't know how that's going to translate come playoff time. But you're right. The I was trying to think of what was the signature. Each team has a signature of things that they like to do, and I'm struggling to understand what that is for Carolina.
I mean,
Um,
I think they want to run, but I mean, they're not. I mean, they're not one of the. They're not one of the MVP conversation run teams. I think Whitner his freshman year, his first year was in there, but they want to run,
mhm,
and that was part of the reason why they traded Cam because they didn't think they could use Cam as efficiently. They don't have. I don't know, man. It's just they don't. You can't look at this team and say this team is dominant at this on offense.
mhm. Okay. All right, and last but not least, I wanted to mention the Saints. The Saints, we thought there was some hope last season, and they kind of reverted back to where they were at, and they might have very similar challenges to what Kansas City has in the AFC West. Just a very tough division, and you really just got to come out guns blazing early. Is there any hope for the Saints to turn this around? I mean, were they doomed right after the Cooks deal, and that was it? Because that was their. I
They're
mean,
two and
because since
two.
then it's.
Look, man,
Yeah.
that Cook deal in itself was not a good deal. But the thing about that deal was the Saints put themselves in a situation where they were going to be at their best in the first two seasons after that trade. And after that, the back end of that trade is where they got the bad end of the stick because they got uh, Doug Martin, who's already at that age where he's dying. And not only just that trade, I don't want to just say that Cook's trade was the end of it. They also traded that first season, which is their worst season, for Deshaun Jackson. So you got Deshaun Jackson and Doug Martin, who are the two biggest pieces from that trade, and both of those players are are non-existent for the Saints right now. So these last two seasons are not they're not in a good position these last two seasons because of the deals they made the first season to trade younger players for older players.
Yeah, and I see Doug Martin with 83 speed, and he's starting back
Yeah.
there. So,
And what is Cooks doing right now? Cooks is like in the MVP conversation, our best wide receiver conversation last year. Like, look at their team; they're old. That is an old team, and that's what happens when you trade young players for
yeah,
old
man.
players.
This is, and this is what the media comes on the boards, and I know one of the quotes, "You're making stupid trades," and that this is kind of what they yell about when you see a talent. I don't even think we had a 96 speed player. He was the highest rated speed at the time, and so
He
to
was the
have
only
him
player
just be
that fast who
moved,
could catch.
yeah.
Like I think there was one other dude who was that fast who was not. Like I said at the time. At the time, we could go back to Talk version one, and and you would see episode one, and I would say there are two players in the league that have 96 speed, and only one of them is a football player. The other dude is a fucking athlete. And now the speedster that he got to replace him is fucking 32-year-old Deshaun Jackson, who as a midget with 87 speed is a non-factor. And I mean, well, not, I'm sorry, yeah. At the end of the day, man, what it comes down to is when you're making those trades first season, like I want to win now. What happens on the back end is the Saints. You end up with a team with players who had one role when you got them, who have different roles now, and you're not excited about the game anymore because you're looking at all these deals like, damn, I got all these old dudes who ain't even really like that no more. And that's what happens when you trade picks and young players.
This is true. And last but not least is the NFC West. We're seeing some different things coming out of that division. The Rams obviously struggling. I believe they're
The Rams, man.
2-3 now.
Yeah,
Two
that
and
loss
two,
they
two and
just took. Are they? Well, let me pull them up. Yeah, and that was I don't well I can tell you this. I don't really know what the rationale is there. Um, but
yeah,
they
I
are
don't get
not
it.
playing. They're not playing the same way that they have been playing. And what I mean by that is, like when I played them, and I didn't see all the Redskins game, but when I played the Rams, like I don't think they gave Gurley a single handoff under center. And this
Hmm.
guy's won what
Hey,
3 MVPs now.
hey,
So I don't know if it's
hey.
a transitional phase for them.
Yeah, well,
But that's not how they play to win. And I don't know what's going on.
no. Mariota has been the leader of that team. They had 3 turnovers in their last game against Cleveland that we saw statistically, and we saw that they had 31 yards rushing. Now that might have been because they were down 20-14 in the first half, but you're right. Listen, they've got a chip, so I'm pretty sure the ramp. I know Coach Lines the way we think we do. He will get it under control. That division is certainly still he's struggling, and there he's on the top of that division because no one else has emerged. Now he played the 49ers recently, and that game came down to the wire. That was a good game that actually was televised, and the 49ers were driving, and then one of forget who the defender was made a big play, took it
This
back to the house. So.
Now the Seahawks have been their coach has been He'll be. I think he comes back today
Out of town, right?
out of
Yeah.
town. So I mean, he has at least two of those losses. I think came from Sims when he was gone. So that race will tighten up. The other thing is the Rams have been cutting some cap too. The thing that concerns me about them is not necessarily how they've been playing because I know and we both know that he could tomorrow, call some old stuff and give Gurley 30 carries a game and win 10 games. Like we know he
Yeah,
can
we
win
didn't
10
try.
games doing that. But
Yeah.
with that said, um, he's traded away some players. I think he traded T.J. McDonald, who
Ta-
won
Traded
DB of the
Tavon, oh,
year,
Tavon
Tavon
Austin, right?
Austin. Yeah, so he's traded away a lot of his talent. That is what is I find more concerning than the way he's playing because, like we both said, we know he can play a certain way and come out of that division the way things have been. But we'll see if that talent level comes back to haunt him or not.
All right, now this other coach, this is another one where I have to sigh because this coach, the Arizona Cardinals coach, I got to do another dramatic pause because this guy told us he's going to take the Arizona Cardinals where they haven't been taken before, and
I
we've
ain't
seen
talking.
that team.
Go ahead.
I mean, what was that?
Nah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, this guy had perhaps, arguably, the top team in the league in terms of talent. I mean, there wasn't a hole that I could identify except for maybe their quarterback was going to get old quickly after season one. So if anything, you maybe just look to develop a quarterback. You could have been developing a quarterback for all of season one and just have him ready for when. And Carson Palmer's still playing, by the way. It's not like he retired. But I mean, and they've obviously had stadium troubles like no one else has ever seen. They've had a robbery. Then there was also some other type of other mechanical, technical breakdown of televisions. And I mean, we've never seen two times in a year. But listen, I don't know what's going on in Arizona. I don't see any signs of hope for season four. I don't have any confidence in them coming out at season five. Again, back to identity. What do the Cardinals do? What is their thing? And here's the thing, Monk, and I'm going in on them. Do they have to have superior talent in order to win?
They can't win.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even gonna talk about Gabe too much because I mean he doesn't care. But at the end of the day, like no, like they can't win. Period. Because he has. You seen his team? You seen
Yeah.
his team? That dude has
Yeah.
superior talent. He's had superior talent that he's traded to get superior talent back. That he's traded to get superior talent back. Like, come on, man. His quarterback is Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger is freaking 90 plus everything. He was a top five quarterback. He had Bubba before. Now he still got David Johnson, who I just got through saying is one of the best backs. He's got Julio Jones, Sammy Watkins, and T.Y. Hilton and his receivers.
Yeah, that's wild. Look at
Like,
that.
come on,
That's
man.
right. Wow.
Julio and T.Y.
You
both
could
have
play
won receiver of the
blindfolded.
year. Sammy Watkins, really? Like, come
Yeah.
on. This dude's team is great. That dude's just not,
Yeah.
he's not good right now, is what it is. So, I mean,
Yeah.
superior talent is not enough for him right now. He's a long way off from what he was in the last Madden, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think last Madden that would have been enough to kind of guide you through, but you gotta implement your scheme with this talent. You just
Now
can't
you can
come out.
criticize,
Yeah.
yeah, you can criticize all the trade he made, all the trades he made, but his team is still good. Like his team is great on offense, and he's not winning games. So
Mhm.
what else is there to say except for he's just not good? This man,
And last but not least, listen, this is another what I call an up and coming team. I put them in the category of sticky. Another new owner, not a lot of fanfare. He goes about his business quietly. He came in late. He obviously had to take over a failing team, which were the 49ers. And I'm seeing some good things coming out of San Francisco. I don't know if you've been watching that too closely, but they're making smart moves. They're not doing anything like really bombastic. I mean, I know they're 1-3, but they're playing tough. They're not a walkover. You don't see San Francisco in your schedule and go, I don't gotta worry about that. I mean, they're playing tough. They lost some tough games, but I like the direction for them for season five going forward. And that's a team that doesn't have a lot of talent on the flip side. I know we were talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, if he had what Gabe had, you know,
Who knows?
things might be different. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some good conversations with the 49ers just on like trades, and it sounds like he knows what it sounds like he knows what he's doing. It sounds like he's having a good time. But this is one of those things where they're slowly improving, but I don't see them making a big turn in these next couple of seasons. But I hope he comes back for the next Madden and
Yeah.
gets him a good team.
Yeah. All right, Monk. We ran a little longer than normal. We've been off the air for a couple of weeks, obviously, for various reasons. We didn't get a lot of stir the pots. We did get a couple sent to us.
I think I
I
do
just
have.
want to
I think I stirred a pot was sent to me for the first time ever too. But you go ahead and do
read.
yours first.
All right, that's great to hear. We did have one that says, let me just make sure I'm reading this properly. Harvey had a weak schedule last season.
It's
He
always
has a
why is it
tougher.
always a stir the pot about Harvey? Why is that?
Yeah, it is. He is a media favorite. He's like Trump. He makes news for himself. But basically, essentially, what it says is hashtag he is who we thought he was.
True that. True that.
So yeah, yeah, Harvey is definitely who we thought he was with at least the early results right now. That's the only stir the pot I have right now. Um, and I
I'm
think you'll
trying to
close it
find the
out with.
one that I had.
Okay.
I'm looking.
Uh,
Oh,
oh, Chicago beat
I've
Denver.
got two actually. Well, I've got one. I've got one.
Uh,
And this is obviously we know that stir the pots are anonymous. So this stir the pot is everybody's talking about quarterling. We need 10-minute quarters for franchise games.
I thought we got rid of that label, but we'll
Not quite.
not quite. It's still
Motion
I
across,
think
motion back, call timeout. Shaking my head.
yeah, yeah, we definitely have some speed issues at times just to try to figure out what the defense was doing. So we'll try to get better. And that's a good one. That's a good one. That one's funny. We're trying to get better. So
Hey
that's a
man,
good start.
you're doing quite well for yourself, brother. You're
Yeah,
good to go.
thanks, man. We're trying. We're trying. We're trying.
Well,
All
with
right,
that
Monk.
said,
Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap us up
as
for
always,
this
guys,
version of
you got an hour and a half of goodness tonight. Enjoy. Back to the lab.
Back to the Lab. Thanks for joining.
All right, man.